This is Joe Leigh here for Seconds Out, joined by Robert Garcia over in Las Vegas, and it's good to see you again. Of course, a massive fight, Jesse Rodriguez this weekend, and you're there for him. But what a fight that main event is as well. Robert, good to speak to you. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing good. I'm glad to be back, here in Vegas with such big card with my fighter, Jesse Rodriguez.
Jesse Rodriguez, what a fighter. 22 years of age, world champion. He's doing everything right so far.
You know what? This kid's special. I've been saying this 5 years ago, when nobody even turned to look at him. I said it, this kid's special. I said it many times in my gym. This kid is one of the best fighters I've ever had. I know there was a few fighters, maybe parents that would say, no, my son is better. But nah, this kid is the real deal, man. I've said it many times, and he's showing it now.
Yeah, and you've said before in other interviews as well, you feel like he's the best fighter at the moment that you have.
You know what? I have a great stable. I have a great team, great fighters. With Jose Ramirez, his brother Joshua Franco, who is also a world champion. They're all great fighters. The stable that I have, Raymond Murataya and just a bunch of young fighters coming up is stacked with talent, but Jesse is a special talent, and that's one thing that benefits the rest of my team, because they all want to be as good or better. So they push themselves even harder in the gym to be as good or better than Jesse. So I think having somebody like Jesse in my gym helps everybody else out.
Yeah, I know you've got or had over a dozen world champions over time. You've been trainer of the year. This is one stat I don't know about you, Robert. What's the youngest world champion you've had?
Wow, Jesse, 22. He's the youngest right now, and I think, you know what? I have to go back to my 14 world champions that I've had, see what age they had. But Jesse became champion at 22, actually right at 22, because he turned 22 January 20, if I'm not mistaken, and a few weeks later he became champion. So he's probably the youngest that I've worked with.
How do you see him getting stuck in this weekend? It's a good fight. He's expected to win, but what a stage to be on.
Well, he's in a solid fight. We have to take it fight by fight. I know Jesse, that's all he's talking about, this fight. But me, as his manager and trainer, we also have to look at the future. And if everything goes well, hopefully we could get him back in December. And look, Chocolatito and Gallo are going to fight. We also plan on moving him down to 112. So if we get down to 112, I would love him to challenge any champion at 112, anybody that is willing to give us the opportunity. So that would be the perfect plan for me.
How far was the Sonny Edwards fight, or how far away is that from happening, Robert?
Well, we want to get down to 112, so it can't be that far. There's 4 champions, so whoever's willing to step up and give us that opportunity, because I don't want to challenge just one in particular. There's 4 champions, so whoever wants to give us that opportunity, if it's Sonny Edwards, we'll be more than happy to go to the UK and fight him over there.
There must be something that stands out about him, about his skill set. Of course, you've had him for a long time now. You've known him for a long time. What is the one thing in his arsenal that makes you believe he's such a talent, which we've seen, but what is it that made you realise early on as well?
You know what? The most important thing about him and his brothers, that they were raised right by their parents. They're very respectful kids, very dedicated, very honest, and that has nothing to do with skills, but that actually has everything to do with it, because these kids are dedicated, they're focused, they want to be great, and their parents did a great job. His skills, his footwork is one thing that I love in fighters. Some of my favorite fighters have all had great footwork, with Sugar Leonard, Orlando Canizales, just to name a couple, of my favorite fighters, had great footwork, and Jesse's one of them. I think Jesse could be as good or better than them in the future.
A bit of a different question now. Of course, when people mention boxers who almost die for the sport in a certain way, the typical one that will be used is Mike Tyson, but that's obviously a different scenario. He grew up with not so good at ringing. He was angry all the time, and he said that was his reason for success. Why on Jesse's behalf? Do you feel like he's successful, even though he's not the angry guy that some say you need to be in order to fight?
Well, you know what? Because he has plans for his future, his life. You know, he has a lot of plans of becoming great in the sport, and he's got the competition he has in my gym with the rest of my fighters. It's a competition, even though they're all teammates and they all support each other. That's what my team does so well, because they're training together and they're competing with each other.
Yeah, I want to move on to this main event. We could talk about Jesse for a long time, but of course, it's such a good main event as well. The trilogy between Canelo and Golovkin. Of course, it's a shame for Golovkin. He's been so good in the first two fights, and he's only got a draw from that. How much do you think he needs to do to get the win?
You know what? I think everybody's saying Triple G is already 40, but at 40, you know, just like Pacquiao or many other fighters have done before, 40 or 40 plus, they have that last one performance. And I think this is going to be Triple G's last performance where he goes out and gives it his best. I still think Canelo, being the younger man, the hungry one, the star, should pull it off, but it's going to be a great fight.
What do you mean he's the star? Like, how would that get him to win the fight?
Well, you know what? He knows the whole world is watching. You know, 99% of Mexico is watching, and that makes him. You know, he's one of those fighters that makes him stronger and work harder. You know, being so successful with the paydays that nobody's ever seen, and still being that hungry to be great, that says it all. You know, that says it all. And I just know that this fight has probably motivated him more than the first two, because it's the last fight and he wants to win by knockout. So I'm sure he's training like never before, and especially coming off a loss.
How much hunger is that Bivol loss going to give Canelo?
You know what? I'm telling you, you know, coming off a loss and people already maybe writing him off and going third fight against Triple G, I think Canelo's going to be meaner than ever.
Will he stop Golovkin?
Golovkin's a great fighter, but I do believe Canelo stops him this time.
Wow, that's a big claim. I think for boxing, do you feel as if your perspective on this, he needs that knockout and there's no denying the first two fights were so controversial?
They were so close, but I think, you know, the fight being now at, you know, the age difference, I just think that's going to be the main factor. Even though, like I said, Triple G could come in and bring the best performance of his life, you know, because it's happened before at that age, you know, where fighters go out there and give the best performance of their lives. And I would love to see that, but I feel that Canelo has what it takes to win and maybe even stop him.
Interesting. I can't wait for that fight. Obviously, a fight that I'm also excited for, being from Britain, is Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. How much light can you shed on whether this is a possibility? We're all excited over here.
You know what? I've been in touch with the management team at least twice a week, and we've been going over what's going on. You know, Tyson Fury made that offer. They accepted it. I personally think it might be too soon to really finalize that fight, especially with Queen Elizabeth's passing. She, you know, that might take a little bit off, so they might have to move the date. I really don't know. You know, I personally would prefer 2 or 3 fights before anything like that, but you know, he's got a smart management team and they're going to do the right thing. You know, I think it's also a great fight. You know, the fight that the fans in UK need to see. Fury and Anthony Joshua's huge fight. I think Anthony has great skills, great speed, great power, and could win the fight. You know, but it's not an easy fight either. You know, but you know, Anthony loves those challenges. He took that challenge to fight Usyk in the rematch right away, when he could have easily taken 2 or 3 easier fights. He went straight into the rematch. So he loves those challenges. So I'll be more than happy to be part of the team again if that's what they want.
How would you execute this fight? You say 2 or 3 fights in between to make this better for Anthony Joshua. How would you execute it in terms of?
You know what?
Go.
I would like 2 or 3 fights just to get more comfortable with me as a trainer, get a little more of time. Our first training camp together and going in there against Usyk, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, and even then he still did better than before. He did way better. So I think there was a lot of improvement. 2 or 3 more fights would just make him so much better. I would love that. But if we go straight into the Usyk fight, Anthony has great skills, great power. A lot of speed, so that could be a big factor, against somebody like Fury. The speed, the power, the footwork is something that could benefit us to win the fight.
What did you learn from training a heavyweight as well?
You know what? I loved it. I enjoyed it. Me and Angel Fernandez, we did a great job. Angel Fernandez is a great trainer. He's getting so much better and better. He's hungry to be the best, and he's gonna get there. He's getting there little by little. He's got a great stable of fighters in his team, and sooner than later, people will start recognizing him as one of the best.
Of course. Now, I want to speak about, in case that fight doesn't happen between Fury and Joshua. If Fury was to fight Usyk instead, of course, out in Saudi, you got to see Usyk live in the flesh, and obviously on the night as well, he performed well against AJ. Not as good as he did in the first fight, so credit to you on behalf of the team as well. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk, how do you see that playing out?
Well, no, you know what? It's a difficult fight because Fury is very difficult, very technical, very smart fighter in the ring. So it's a tough fight. It's hard to pick who would win. It's going to be very, very difficult. If they do fight, that would be the fight. That just to become undisputed and to have one solid champion. That's the I would like to see that fight. Whoever wins doesn't matter to me. I have nothing to do with it. In the meantime, I would like Anthony to get 2 or 3 fights, just like the plan was, fight in Vegas, in China, one in UK. Maybe take those 3 fights against top 10, 15 fighters, and then go after the winner, a year and a half from now.
Do you think Anthony Joshua fights Tyson Fury next? Do you think that's what's happened next? What happens
Me
next?
personally, I would say no. Because I think it's too short of a notice. I think Fury's gonna say something like, "We don't have enough time. We got to move it," or maybe he's using this to pressure Usyk to take the fight. I really don't know. I really don't know. But if it does happen, then we just have to get ready for it.
Okay, now a funny question to end it off on. What happens first? Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, or Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence? Which one first, do you believe?
Yeah, you know what? Both are very difficult right now, especially with so little time before the end of the year. It's going to be hard for both fights because they're both huge fights. One in the UK and one in the United States. It's going to be hard to finalize both because we only have a little over 2 months left. 3 months left in the year. It's difficult. For those type of fights, you need a long time to promote it, sell tickets, and just people have to prepare with flights, vacations, everything. It's very difficult. Plus, 2 huge fights. People might want to come from the UK to the States to see the fight here. Some people from the States might want to go to the UK to see the fight there. So it's 2 vacations, 2 travels. It's kind of difficult, but it'd be great to have them both this year. Hopefully, we do.
Thank you for talking.